How was this car not sent to the crusher already? The 90s called, they want their car back. Suddenly, it's 2001. Some of these cars that I have found on Facebook Marketplace, I genuinely have not seen some of these builds or anything like it since the early 2000s. So that might be before the time some of you guys were born. I unfortunately remember all of these. So that being said, my name is Dane. The channel is Marketing Mustangs. If you like this kind of stuff, go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe. Let's jump to my computer and let's look through some ugly cars. Dare I say, we're going through memory lane for me. Starting off, we have this beautiful, of course, 1995 primer gray Ford Mustang GT with what looks to be like a 6-inch cowl hood. We can also see a aftermarket tachometer. We have mismatched wheels. We have a light bar all the way down low in the front of the car. Let's see, we're rolling on large deep dish bullet wheels in the back. Thunderbird wheels up front. Okay, that's a new one, Thunderbird wheels. And of course we have some very tired looking angel eye headlights. And let's not forget, Big Wang Gang. Now, what I think is amazing is actually the listing. Mustang is all built roller cam roller rockers, for real intake manifold. So there is for real an intake manifold. I'm glad there is, because if you don't have an intake manifold, you're probably not going to be driving this car anytime soon. 410 gears, hauls ass. I'm glad it hauls something then. Now, for all I know, this could be a super high horsepower car. This could be a tired 5.0 with a 20-year-old used cam that he shoved into the middle of it. Because as you notice, there is absolutely no engine bay shots. If this is a super performance engine, at least show us. At least show us the receipts. I mean, this is a tall asking price, $4,500. If this was a $1,500 car, you might be willing to make a gamble. $4,500 is a lot to ask for $198,000 for a questionable engine with already a questionable looking car. Would you buy this? I sure wouldn't. Let's take a look, see what we got next. Ugh, my eyes, they burn. Okay, so what I've noticed is that you can pretty much always buy an aftermarket Saleen bumper, but you shouldn't always buy it. Here's why. Unlike Roush, which, I have a Roush Mustang, you can't buy aftermarket or, copy versions of the body kit anymore. And you can kind of see why. Now, from right here, it doesn't look too bad. It's like, hey, Dane, the car's all in one color. Sure, we see my usual culprit, which is the angel eye headlights, and these are the type that poke out of the housing, so they look really terrible. And I'm not a fan of this hood. Back when I was younger, I thought the Mach 2 hood, this is what it's called somewhere, I always thought that was kind of cool. Now I've kind of just sort of aged out of it. But the Saleen front bumper, it's like, hey Dane, for $3,500, this might just be, a cheap set of headlights away. Let's look a little bit deeper on this. So the first thing I noticed is actually the side shot shows that this car's been in an accident. Look at the droop of the front bumper, and notice how when it comes to the front bumper matching up to the front fender, it really cuts in. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you're a Saleen person and you can correct me if I'm wrong, please tell me. I would love to actually understand. It looks like that this is cut way in because this is not a actual Saleen bumper. It's probably a knockoff of a knockoff bumper, because don't get me wrong, you don't have to get everything to be Saleen to be good quality. I'm sure there's great reproduction parts out there as well. This isn't one of them, because if you notice how much it cuts in there, and then especially on this side, to my knowledge, you typically don't have that much front tire showing outside of the front bumper. And you can even see real close right there, it looks like this actually is setting in on the inside of the car. And not only is it tucked in there, but it's also drooping down here in the front. If I recall, Saleens were a lot cleaner up. Now, yeah, I'm saying a lot of stuff about the front bumper just because that's the first thing that gives me a red flag. What I noticed, actually, when I first looked at this listing, is half the side skirt is missing on the driver's side. On the passenger side, it's just completely gone. Red starfish wheels, not really looking pretty. That's why I realized this car has been repainted poorly, even down to the side mirrors. It's missing badging, it's missing... these side scoops right here, they're missing parts. All the way down to even having the little exhaust tip being painted red. This car would give me... I would walk away from this immediately. It's a V6 Mustang, it might be a manual transmission, but this thing probably has had a very tired life. It even looks like, I didn't notice this, they actually painted over the little side markers. Sure, that's a minor thing, but this tells me that this was a quick, spray and pray job. And at some point, it used to have the same spoiler that probably that 95 Mustang I just looked at had. $3,500 is a lot for potentially a very beaten up car that's had a lot of paint and a lot of mismatched parts thrown at. Look how how big the gap is between the headlight and that front bumper. This is all sagged down. For all I know, it could have been in a front end accident, and this is just as close as they could hang it on there. I don't know. What do you think? Now this takes me back. See this front bumper right here? This is something that has been out of style since like maybe 2004, 2005. For example, let me show you when this body kit was actually cool. So here's a Motortrend article from 2002, and right here, this is talking about some build. If you want to read this article, I'll have a link down below in the comments, or down below this video, just because sometimes it's kind of fun to read stuff like this. I remember reading stuff like this when I was in high school, and that was a while ago now. So anyways, pretty much this is about a build where they take, at the time, I believe it's a 2000, it's probably like a 99 New Edge Cobra. They upped it to 385. And they made a whole SEMA build out of it. So as you can tell, this is what the whole body kit is supposed to look like. All one color, and you know what? During the early 2000s, this probably would have gotten a pass. When I got into the Mustang scene, this was considered like way out of date. This is very original, the Fast and the Furious style looking car. Let's see if I can actually get these pictures to open. Yeah, you can definitely tell they do not maintain this part of the website very well, because man, these images, these poor JPEGs have been squashed. Okay, there's not much to look at here, but again, I'm gonna link this article down in the comments just for like historical purposes. So I'll have this down below, but it's just interesting to see, like, okay, in 2002, this was considered like, wow, someone put a lot of work into a Mustang, and they did this. Did a build like this. But as you can tell, we are 23 years on, and for some reason someone actually bought this. I have no idea what the price was. It just says send me trades. Why would someone want to trade for this is my question. Like, okay, so we have another Mach 2 hood. It feels like it's starting to become a theme right now. A Mach 2 hood. And what was this bumper called? I actually looked it up. So for the OGs out here, MrBodyKit.com. I know it's kind of cut off right there. I think it's interesting that we can still theoretically buy these. So this was the whole body kit. Spider X9. I've heard a couple different names for these. I've heard Black Widow. I've heard Spider 2. I've heard Spider X9. So here it's called Spider X9. And as you can tell, like back in the day, this is what people were trying to go for. And I mean way back in the day. Since the 2000s are kind of coming back, do you think the Mustang scene will re-accept this look again? Me, I think this is probably just going to be left to the sands of time. I never thought it particularly looked good. Obviously, like with a professional fit and finish, it doesn't look terrible, but I mean, even then, ugh. You know what the funny thing is I got into Mustangs in 2007, and like this website, Mr. Bodykit, has never once changed. It has not changed whatsoever. But yeah, like this look, I just don't ever see this coming back. But hey, for $800, maybe you could make it come back. I'm not going to do it. So back to this car. Now we know that this is the Spider X9 front bumper at least, because it looks like this was a V6 Mustang. It has S197 base model wheels, 5 shades of black, smoked taillights, broken side window, and this guy was able to trade it off. Now it does look like the Mach 2 hood is carbon fiber. That might have some that might have some value, but I personally don't see it having that much in the way of value. Would you have traded your vehicle for this? $195,000. Let's just assume it's a V6, probably an automatic. Would you trade your car for this? I know I would not even dare, because this looks like someone's hodgepodge project. For all we know, this bumper's been hanging off the front end of this car since the early 2000s, and this was supposed to be the killer build to bring it back. Do you think these Spider X9 kits are willing to come back? Before you answer, let's look at a couple more cars. See? Guess what, SN95 guys? We had it again. I can't remember what the name of this hood is. I've heard it called like the Ram Air 2 hood compared to the Mach 2 hood. Tomato. I actually thought this style was kind of clean. The rest of the car isn't. So this is an SN95, and it looks like we actually have the entire X9 body kit. We're having some serious deja vu for me, because I remember like these were done and played out, and the fact that cars still are rolling around and exist with them on, I thought all these body kits went in the trash. I do like the roll bar. It's not even really a roll bar, but it looks cool. I do like that, but look how far forward it sticks out on an SN95. That is so goofy looking. The wheels actually don't look bad. Those look to be 20s. So it's kind of like, see, like I'm divided. This is clearly a survivor build from the early 2000s, because like when I got into the car scene in 2007, you had some of these still hanging around. The full body kit, the hood, the larger wheels. You know, about 2007, that's when people started to get a lot more conservative with the SN95, the New Edge, and just Mustangs in general. That was also when the S197 was brand new, so like trying to make your SN95 and New Edge look more retro with like blackout decals, bullet wheels, tin spoilers, that was a lot more of the time versus this, which was already like, oh, it's too rice. You know, this car was probably built late 90s, since the 96, and like, on one hand, someone actually took the time to do this well. Like, sure, the paint's chipped, but if we're assuming this car was maybe built like shortly after this car was purchased, maybe this is a survivor. Let me know what you think. Is this time capsule worth $5,700? To me, I don't know, because on one hand, you really have to be dedicated to the fact that you're driving an early 2000s custom build. Like, even has like the little flip out DVD player like in the Fast and the Furious. It has controls right here. Actually, kind of a cool thing right here. So that shifter is called the BMM Hammer Shifter. This is an automatic, as you can tell, but the thing is that actually allows you to ratchet through the gear. That's kind of cool. I'm surprised I actually said that something was kind of cool about this build. Now, the uncool thing is that we pretty much just have a stock non-PI 2-valve Mustang in here. So it's a V8 automatic convertible SN95, 215 blistering horsepowers. Like, what do you guys think about this car? That's what I want to know. Does this blast, like, how do you feel about this blast for the past? Because it is kind of cool in the fact that it's clearly a survivor car, but also I mean, I'm not sure if it's worth $5,700. That's my thing. Well, I'm not sure it's worth $5,700, especially with that front end overhang. That's a bit ridiculous looking. I mean, it looks like they added an extra 6 inches to the front of the car. Better than Viagra, that's for sure. Okay, let's take a look at this last one real quick. Oh, wow. Are you a gambling man? Wow. Okay, so let's break this down. Even just from the rear bumper, we're in for a ride. We have Lambo doors, we have probably a reproduction Celine double-decker spoiler, and guess what we have? You guessed it. Actually, no, excuse me, this isn't the Spider X9 body kit. I thought it was. It looks so similar to the black one. Okay, so this body kit, I think this was called the Stallion body kit. Okay, so I was able to find what this front bumper is. Okay, so Servans is calling it the Mustang Stalker front bumper. The thing is, you know, if you do Mustang Stalker front bumper, one, besides being a terrible name, typically Stalker, quote unquote, is used for describing the knockoff Celine bumper. Like, for example, like I see this bumper, which is clearly what we have right here. Okay, so it's the Stalker front bumper. But then if you look at another website, they call it the Stallion. The Stallion looks to be a little bit larger and has these side scoops. I mean, back in the day, it's like Stalker, Stallion, Spider X9. It's just, what interesting names do we need to come up with to differentiate our products? It's gonna eat at me for a while unless I actually figure out what this is. I actually thought this body kit was okay. The rest of the car isn't. So this is, I think, called the Ram Air 1 hood, which is just way too tall. These are the original 16-inch, you know, GT wheels from 94. Those Lambo doors, though, are something else. But wait. There was a time where you could get these cars with a red interior, and boy, does it show. Yikes, that is a lot of red. So this is lovingly called Porno Red, and I wonder why it's called that. So we have a 94, you know, GT convertible, very fast. Okay, like the GTs from this era weren't that fast. They sounded good. You know, I mean, hey, we have a clean underhood shot with a dirty air filter, but like this is kind of passable right here. Engine looks completely stock, so I mean, I'll play like this. I will absolutely, like, save for, actually, you know, this is an aftermarket intake. Okay, so it has an upper intake. I'm not sure which one. It might be Trick Flow. He has a Venom something or other. God, is that nitrous? That would be hilarious if that was. Okay, I'm a little bit apt on my old car parts. Venom 400. Anyone know what that is? I'll probably like do a post-mortem, you know, like review of that part and also the parts on this car like in a second. But let's see, it has a subwoofer, it has nitrous, so it actually could be a nitrous system. But man, that front bumper is tired. And of course it has what I've always been saying, the angel eye headlights. The angel eye headlights never help. They always look worse. I'd rather it be just two-piece, you know, clear corner headlights at this point. And of course, God, look at the body gap right there, and just look how the bumper just goes out, and then it's just almost a 90-degree angle straight down. Ugh. Yeah, so the question is, are you willing to gamble? Because this car's in Las Vegas on a $5,200 '94 Ford Mustang GT that has, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s parts cannon thrown at it. It has nitrous, but it also has Lambo doors. The front bumper could actually be kind of cool if it wasn't so beaten up, but then you have to deal with the rest of the car. That's a pretty tall order there. Let me know in the comments. To me, this car I would absolutely pass on. It's a convertible. It's an automatic. The fact that it's had nitrous in it and the car's this old, I'd be wondering if maybe that engine's on the last legs. Conversely, I could also 100% understand that maybe that nitrous system was just put in there for pure looks and it's never been used whatsoever. I could absolutely see that. So for me personally, I don't know. This seems like a pretty big gamble for over $5,000 for what is about to be a 30-year-old project build. I would walk away from it. So what do you think? I thought some of these cars were pretty cringy. Anything salvageable to you? Because personally, for the price that some of these cars are going for, I'd rather buy something stock. I'm kind of a stickler about that. What's your thoughts? Do you agree that some of these cars are okay? Is this a trend that's going to be coming back around? I don't think so, but also I am open to being 100% wrong. If you like this kind of content, I have a couple more videos somewhere on this screen. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys another time.